Yes, there are short train rides, and yes, there are long distance train rides, but there's also luxury train rides. As someone who identifies as an in-between traveler, meaning I don't mind being on a budget, and I also don't mind splurging a little bit on the right experience, I love adding a luxury train ride to my itinerary. So y'all know I have some recommendations. Hi, my name is Sojourner, aka Sojourneys, aka the Train Travel Queen, and today we're talking luxury train rides. And I have 4 recommendations that I took actually all within the past year and a half or so that I think would be really great if you are looking to splurge a little bit on your next trip. And the first one I have is the Peru Rail Titicaca train, and I will never stop talking about this train ride because it was my first luxury train ride back in November 2023. When I took this train, it was $275 one way. It's a 10-hour experience from Cusco to Puno, Peru, and it includes a 3-course meal, a pisco sour demonstration, dancing, singing. There's a beautiful back terrace that I love to be on during this experience. I took this one as a solo traveler on my solo trip to Peru, where I went to Machu Picchu, did a cooking class, and did a bunch of other really fun stuff in Peru. So I will link that video in the description box below, as well as the video for the train ride that I filmed. The back terrace was definitely my favorite part of this train ride. I think it's really great, especially on more of the international train rides, that you're able to walk around and get some air. I think one thing that I always hear from people is how they feel like train rides are really stuffy, and I found that on the Peru Rail Titicaca train I did not have that issue. I was able to stand out on the back terrace, get the views, get some air. I was also able to sit in the bar car, which is where they had all the dancing and demonstrations and everything, and that was also a really nice place to hang. Or I could stay at my table. So unlike other trains I've taken on Amtrak, for example, I was not sharing my table or my meals with anyone. So it was really a solo train travel experience. It was just me at my table with my bread, some quinoa mushroom kind of dish. I had my wine, I had the views. It was a really beautiful train ride, a very relaxing train ride. There is no Wi-Fi on this train, but I essentially just hung out in the different cars, took photos, took videos. I think I took a little nap on this one too. And also there is a part where you do get off the train, so you might want to bring some cash if you want to buy some souvenirs. Some logistical things to know about this train in particular is that you do get to Puno pretty late. So the whole idea is that you go to Puno, then you go to Lake Titicaca, and Puno is the closest Peruvian city to get to Lake Titicaca on the Peruvian side of the lake. So I coordinated with my Airbnb host. I will put a picture or a link to the Airbnb in the description box below, but it was with one of the indigenous communities called the Euros people who live on the lake, and they do a lot of the tourism that you'll see on the lake. So I coordinated with him to get a taxi from the train station to the port, or the little lake area pickup drop off, I think, where then I was met with somebody else to catch a boat across the lake in the middle of the night. So I do recommend coordinating with your hotel, or if you're staying in the Airbnb with one of the indigenous communities, coordinating with them to see how you will get from the train station to your accommodations the night you arrive via train. I also think it's a good idea that if you are taking this train, that you add it to the end of your itinerary, especially if you're flying into Lima. I think Lake Titicaca is a beautiful space to experience and to be on. However, it is a bit further away from a lot of the other Peruvian attractions like Machu Picchu, because the train ride is 10 hours from Cusco, and Cusco is the city where a lot of travelers stay to do more of the outdoorsy things that you can do in Peru. And if you're wondering how you leave Lake Titicaca / Puno, you could take the train back, but I think it's a bit more convenient to fly. So I coordinated with my Airbnb host again to take that boat back across the lake from Lake Titicaca to Puno. And I coordinated with Get Your Guide to get an airport transfer that picked me up literally right there on that little port to take me to Juliaca to fly back out of Lima to go home. So it's a lot of transportation that is needed. You're taking a boat, a train, a car, a plane, a lot when you are deciding to do this. So keep that in mind as you're planning. However, if you're looking for a more domestic luxury train ride in the US, I highly recommend the Napa Valley Wine Train, which my mom and I took last year, and we had a time. If you've seen the vlog, you know there was dancing, the wine was flowing, the food was so good, and we were already talking about how we want to go back and kind of make it a tradition for ourselves because we enjoyed the train ride that much. They also have multiple train experiences. I pitched the Napa Valley Wine Train, so my mom and I were hosted on the train during their 6-hour legacy experience, which is their longest and most expensive. I think it's around $650-ish for the entire day on the train. You get breakfast, you get lunch, and you also have lots of wine, and also an afternoon snack and some desserts were mixed in there too. It includes 2 wine tastings off the train and then 1 wine tasting on the train. So I really liked the variety. Similar to the Peru Rail Titicaca train, they also had a back terrace, which is very rare in a lot of the US train rides that I have taken. So we had a ball out there. That's where the ending dance party was, and you cannot replicate those vibes. We had so much fun. But if you don't want to dish out the $600-ish for that experience, they do offer shorter and other experiences that are a few $100s cheaper. However, I will say Napa is a pretty expensive area, so it is a more luxurious experience, hence it's in the luxury train ride video. So just be prepared to have a bit more expanded budget, but they do have an afternoon tea, their Vista Dome experience I've also seen people do. So definitely check out all of the other options they have if you want to take this train ride, but maybe you don't want to do the full 6 hours and you want to do a shorter experience and have more free time to just go around and drive through and visit Napa. I think it was a really well thought out experience, a very balanced experience, and it made for a great mother-daughter trip. So I recommend this train ride if you are looking for a girls trip, a birthday trip, or even like a little vacation. There were people on the train who were celebrating their anniversary. As always, you can go by yourself too. I am not against solo train travel on this train ride in particular, but it was really nice to share this experience with someone who I love, like my mom, and we just had a ball. So definitely go check out the vlog and see if it's the right train ride for you. The third luxury train ride that I would recommend is the Jose Express from Guadalajara to Tequila, Mexico. I took this one solo back in January 2024 and I had such a good time. I am a tequila girl and a wine girl, but also a tequila girl, and so I was really pumped to take this experience. And though I initially thought I would be going with friends, I said, you know what, I'm gonna go by myself. And I made friends while I was on the train. So if you're worried about taking any of these rides, especially the Jose Cuervo Express solo, don't be. The train attendants are super attentive and they make sure that you're okay. I met some really cool people while I was on the train and got added into their friend group, which was a lot of fun and really added to my experience, even though I am a solo traveler. Some things to note about the Jose Cuervo Express is that you had 2 options to take the train. So you can either start in Tequila or start in Guadalajara. I think because the airport is in Guadalajara, it makes it easier to take it from Guadalajara to Tequila, and that is considered their sunrise option. However, they do have a sunset option that starts in Tequila and essentially is the Guadalajara experience backwards. So instead of being on the train first, you're in Tequila first, exploring, seeing the dancing, kind of having time to walk around, getting the tour of the facilities, and then you're taking the train to Guadalajara. So that's really up to you on how you want to plan it, but I flew into Guadalajara to then take the train, which does mean that you are taking shots at like 9 o'clock in the morning, but ended up being a great time. So bring some snacks. There was some food included with my elite ticket, though I will say I think there should be more food given how much alcohol you could consume. So definitely bring some snacks if you get hungry, you want to munch throughout the day. And I think the Jose Cuervo Express is great for group travelers, like a bachelorette party, a birthday party, anything like that. I think it is the perfect experience, and those vibes would be immaculate on the train. But you can also be like me and take it as a solo traveler. As I mentioned, I've made friends. I've heard other folks who've taken this train have also made friends, no matter what class of train you decide to pick. So definitely don't count it out if you are a solo traveler. Just know that you will be consuming alcohol, so keep that in mind as you are planning this trip, because you may need to be a bit more advanced to be more comfortable drinking around people who you don't necessarily know. But as I mentioned, the train attendants are great, and I never felt unsafe when I was on the Jose Cuervo Express. And I actually skipped the end of the experience and did not take the bus back to Guadalajara and stayed in the Tequila Barrel Hotel called Matices, which I loved so much. It was such a cool experience, because when else are you going to stay in a Tequila Barrel Hotel? And if you're wanting to go to the Tequila Barrel Hotel like I did, you will need to check in your bag and let them know that you will be going to that hotel, because they will be able to arrange a car for you to pick you up at the very end of the experience when you end at the agave fields, and from there you take a taxi to the hotel. So have some cash on you for this experience. Make sure to bring the card that you also use to book the trip, because they will ask for that at check-in. And if you have any more questions about that, be sure to check out the blog post that I wrote, that I put together, of all the tips and tricks that I remembered to take this train ride, so that it's easier for you to plan and decide what route or what vibe works best for you. And finally, the last luxury train ride that I wanted to talk about is the Rocky Mountaineer, Rocky to the Red Rocks, from Denver to Moab. This is a 2-day train ride that is literally the most luxurious train ride I have ever taken. Similar to the Napa Valley Wine Train, I did pitch the Rocky Mountaineer, so I was hosted during an official media trip, which is my first official media trip as a travel creator last year with the Rocky Mountaineer. So I was paid to create content for them, not the YouTube video, but some Instagram reels. So if you want to check those out, you can go to my Instagram at the Sojournies to see those. It was such a great experience. I know I keep saying that for all these rides, but I have yet to have a bad train luxury experience. Because I was hosted, I did not pay for the train ride. However, they do have multiple packages that you can choose from. And something I really like about this train is how we were able to not worry about our luggage. And also we stayed in hotels. So with the Rocky Mountaineer, we started in Denver on the first day and ended in Glenwood Springs, stayed overnight in Glenwood Springs, and then woke up early the next morning to go from Glenwood Springs to Moab. But you drop off your luggage in the beginning of the day, so you don't have to worry about it on the train. It's literally in your room once you get to Glenwood Springs, and you leave it there the next morning and they transport it to Moab for you. So I thought this one was probably the best thought out as far as like logistics of how to make passengers really comfortable on the train, no matter if you're on a media trip like me or you're just a regular train traveler taking the train ride. We also had the Silver Leaf Plus service, which meant that we got our meals on the train, including breakfast and lunch both days, and you get unlimited drinks. I also love that they had a lot of local wine on the train, and we ended up passing by one of the vineyards that they work with. So a very well thought out experience. The food was delicious. I had these biscuits and gravy on the train that was divine. And y'all know I'm a wine girl, so I definitely indulged in the white and red wines on the train too. So if you're looking for a super luxurious, like honeymoon worthy experience, I think the Rocky Mountaineer is definitely the option for you. And those are the 4 train rides I wanted to share with y'all today. I hope you enjoyed this video and that you got some inspiration and ideas for future luxury train rides you may want to save up for or splurge on sometime in the near future. Be sure to check the description box. I'm going to divide all of the links that I've mentioned by train in the description box, so it's easy for y'all to kind of go through and peruse cruise and decide which train may be the one for you. And don't forget to join my email list to get any exclusive updates. I am launching group train trips this year, and I'm almost done planning them, so I am really excited to share where we'll be headed this year. So don't forget to sign up to be the first to know when those launch so you can grab your spot. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, stay curious, leave any comments or questions below, and I will talk to y'all in my next video. Bye.